Approximately 2.5 years, over 150 episodes later, we can officially say BuzzFeed has been tested. And even though that series will continue on, there are certainly other organizations that need to be tested as well. Today, Bon Appetit meets the Mythbuster of internet recipes. Ow, that's hot! But what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. As I just mentioned, and it says in the title, yes, today is episode 1 of the Bon Appetit test series, and we are starting in kind of the medium difficulty range with Pringles. If you are not familiar, Bon Appetit has a series where their pastry chef named Claire tries to recreate iconic childhood snacks, just other American snack foods in general, and then at the end of every single episode, she details which recipe she thinks is closest to the real thing. Let me know what other Bon Appetit recipes you want to see tested in the future, and thank you to everybody who has suggested this in the past. Let's get right into it. Now, you may be surprised to find out that the main Pringle dough is only made up of 5 ingredients. Unfortunately, they're kind of hard to find ingredients, so I have to go on a little bit of an Amazon shopping spree. I need to grab some white rice flour, which I don't think I've ever seen in any grocery store I've ever been in. I also grabbed some pasta extruders for my stand mixer. These should come in handy. And most importantly for this, the potato flour. Not to be confused with potato starch like I used for Rie's Tebasaki chicken wings. This is potato flour and should work well for this. The first thing I want to do is to cut into this mesh strainer, which is a lot harder than it might look, because this is what we're going to form into our hyperbolic paraboloid, aka the shape of a Pringle. I was pleasantly surprised with how well this formed to the shapes that I bent it in, so I set that aside and began to work on the Pringle dough. According to Claire, all you need is 50 grams of potato flour, some of your white rice flour and cornstarch, a little bit of water and salt, and that's it. Unfortunately for me, I was hoping to see a shaggy, dough-like consistency, and no, this was super crumbly, really weird feeling. I added a little bit more water, maybe it was too dry, and I was still very doubtful with this. I tried to knead it a little bit and it just wasn't happening. I did allow it to rest for about 15 minutes in some plastic wrap, and afterwards I felt no difference. It was gonna be impossible to roll through a pasta machine. It kind of just like broke apart. It was very weird. Now maybe my ratios were off a little bit, so I tried again, trying to be as precise with the measurements as possible. 50 grams of the potato flour and then 10 grams of the white rice and the cornstarch. And once again, this wasn't happening for me. It almost resembles what you would make in like a science class, like a non-Newtonian fluid, where it's kind of liquidy at a resting state. The second you put some stress on it, it breaks like a solid. It's really weird. Now I went back and checked through all my ingredients. I made sure I had the potato flour right, and the cornstarch and white rice flour. It's pretty straightforward stuff. I don't know what I'm doing wrong here. The only thing I could think of is that maybe this potato flour is strange, so I did run to the store really quick, and of course, there was no potato flour in sight. It's already Saturday night, guys. I don't have time to buy a different one online and wait 3 days for it to come. So we're gonna have to go to plan B, unfortunately. I tried the recipe one last time, except this time with some dried instant potatoes. I did run the flakes through a strainer to get them a little bit more fine. And upon the third attempt of mixing all this stuff together, no, it wasn't happening. Now, I was already a couple hours into all these attempts. I was just getting really tired and bugged. Just for the heck of it, I tried to run it through my pasta roller on my stand mixer, and yeah. Guys, I don't know what to do here. I've already been at this all day for hours. I need to get something that's actually a viable chip just for the sake of the video, so I found this recipe online. I'm sorry to be abandoning Claire. I'm sure it's something I did, and I'm sure I'll be retrying it in the future, so let's just bear with me for today. Now this recipe is different in that the flavoring is actually going to be put right into the dough. Also it calls for it to be baked. I'm just going to try to fry them. I'm also not going to explain what ingredients or how many of everything I'm using. If you really want to see it, it'll be down in the description. Just know that it's basically an infused homemade buttermilk with onions and sour cream mixed with instant potatoes. That's pretty much it. Now, thank God I was able to roll this out pretty thin in between 2 pieces of parchment paper. I used this old egg cookie cutter from Easter. And one by one I tried to fry this in 350-degree oil. They smell pretty good as I'm cooking them. They seem to be getting a little bit puffy. The only problem I'm running into is if I leave them too white, then they're still really soggy and not gonna hold their shape. So they're basically gonna look like you took a Pringle and then cooked it again to make them burnt. I was able to get a couple of these things, and yes, they're ugly. Yes, they are nothing like what we were going for originally, but it's a chip, so let's try it. This looks like a cross between a burnt Pringle and like a poorly made plantain chip. That's actually not bad. The flavor's pretty good. They're nice and crispy. They did absorb a lot of oil because probably the instant potatoes just sucked up a bunch of the grease I was cooking it in. I'm sure I'll be giving that original recipe another try. Maybe I'll go back to that video and see if I missed something. I don't know. I do hope you guys enjoyed whatever this mess was. If you did, leave me a big like. Follow me over on Twitter and Instagram if you don't already. Hop on over to Bon Appetit's page, find some other recipes you want to see redone. Leave them in the comments below. Have an awesome beginning of your week, and I will see you right back here next time. Peace.
With the M without the AD. Flipping burgers and my money super lazy. Try and make a meal tonight, they ain't paying me. Try and supersize my life with my 18. Yeah, our style wasn't wavy, but we had a vision. We could make